This is actually the Eye of Odin. This is our traditional mead, and it is the one that we actually started with.
Bob Miller and Nate Wilson began making mead as part of a small brew club at Mahoning County Career and Technical Center, where they teach science classes.
What's old is new, and it's as old as it gets. And for us, we were making beer, we were making wine, brandy, cider, just as a hobby on the side. And when we came across a good recipe for mead, it was kind of an eye-opener for us.
Making beer and making wine and making those kinds of things were fun, but from that there were three of us that kind of went out on our own and decided that we wanted to start doing it a little bit more than just for fun. Mead is it's one of the oldest drinks. It's actually even before wine and beer. With mead, you just needed a honey hive, you needed its rain, the natural yeasts that are there just floating around actually got the process started, probably much more before the wine and the beer actually got started. It's just an old traditional drink.
Miller and Wilson began selling Eye of Odin wholesale, at one point distributing to 23 stores and restaurants.
And the feedback was so good, it would have really been a poor choice not to go further with it and really see where we can take it or where it can take us.
When we kind of hit that milestone, we decided that we also wanted to have a tasting room, and that's why we started this particular location.
The pair are now co-owners of Woodland Cellars in Hubbard, which just opened in July.
Nate and I are both residents of Hubbard. He lives about a half mile one way, I live a half mile the other way, and we thought that Hubbard would be a great place to start a winery and have our mead as well.
Miller's wife Kathy helps out with the business, but she's not the only one.
When the business was just wholesale, it was just the guys doing most of the work. But once we acquired this building, which was a lot of work, we extended into family and friends that have helped us to build what we have here. And so really it's like an extended family, our team. Nate's wife, Danny, and their kids are here a lot. I try to help out here as much as I can, and our daughter as well. So it's been a lot of work, but it's also been a lot of fun along the way.
In addition to the traditional Eye of Odin, they also offer 3 other types of mead.
So instead of actually fermenting the wildflower honey, we actually use a different type of honey, which is orange blossom, and it's still one of the more traditional processes, but it's just a different type of honey.
Our spiced mead, Dromungander. During fermentation, we add in the cinnamon, the elderflower, and vanilla bean, which really give it a whole new flavor palette.
We've recently re-released our coffee mead, which is coffee-infused Eye of Odin. We get our coffee from Branch Street, right down in Boardman.
They also have a variety of wines, and soon they'll have cider just in time for fall.
Experiments out back, so our list isn't completely narrowed down, but we're looking towards some sizers, which those will be a small batch, which is cider and mead together. We also have some infusions that we're planning on doing between cranberry, maybe a sour apple, and of course, with the season, you have to do the pumpkin spice.
In addition to the specialty, the guys mead, and of course their lineup of wines, we offer 3 sangrias right now. We have a white, a red, and then we have our tropical mead sangria.
The mead, wine, and ciders are all made in-house. The process starts back in Woodland Cellars' 3 fermentation rooms.
This is actually one of the fermentation rooms. As you can see, we have our 80-gallon fermentation stainless steel vessels. These actually have adjustable lids to allow for no air actually to get in the containers.
Each batch of mead is about 80 gallons and is made with about 300 pounds of honey. Once it finishes its primary fermentation, it's moved to the next room.
This is actually the where we do our secondary rack and secondary fermentation. And that's actually one of the tanks right there. And as you can see, it's definitely a little bit cloudy. It's actually still got a little bit of fermentation to it, a couple bubbles there. But definitely a good smell.
Once the fermentation process is complete, it's aged up to a year in the next room.
And when the flavors are right and the time is right, we can take it out of here to bottling and get it out to the tasting room.
You'll see that these are some of the smaller batches that we actually do that kind of give us a lot of variety between the mead.
We talked early on, we'd like to see 25, 30 different varieties of choices to drink from on the menu. As much as possible, we try to locally source everything we do. Again, whether it's the mead wine or the cider, even our food that we're making back in the kitchen.
In conjunction with keeping all of their ingredients as local as possible, they are also helping area artisans and businesses with the addition of a gift shop.
So we have a lot of different Hubbard businesses that are in our gift shop. And again, we've tried as much as possible with either our menu items or our drinks that we do to incorporate other businesses in the area.
We love Hubbard. Both of our families are raising our kids here. Our daughter graduated from Hubbard High School 2 years ago, and there's a real sense of community here.
We're local people. We try to do a lot of local things. Even like just starting out, one of our big things was actually making sure the community was involved with what we have, and we're all here to support each other.